Guys, welcome back to another video in this special week. My name is Abraham Leal and today we're going to be working with Marvel's Designer. Now, before we start today's challenge or today's special episode, I do want to mention that we're going to be breaking the rules a little bit because I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this in 30 minutes. We'll see. Maybe we can get it done relatively fast. But Marvel's Designer is a software that's a little bit trickier. There's a lot of simulation and trial and error involved. So we're going to be moving along, and I'm going to be showing you some interesting tools for you to use. I do want to also remind you guys that our weapon competition is still ongoing. The due date is October 31st. You can check yesterday's video for some extra information, and there's going to be a little bit more information by the end of this week. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. And before we start, just a final announcement. If you guys are interested in learning about Marvel's Designer, we do have a course. I did a course earlier this year of a full introduction level Marvelous Designer course. There's 6 or 7 different projects in the course, very ambitious ones. I think you guys are gonna like it, and you can of course check them out in Skillshare. Hey guys, Abraham here. I just want to remind you guys that we upload all of our courses to Skillshare. Skillshare is this amazing site where you can access a ton of different content to learn, improve, and grow as an artist. We have all of our courses available to watch and learn from right now in Skillshare. You can check the description down here, and Skillshare is offering 1 free month trial to their premium membership. With this membership, you're going to be able to access all of our courses and watch and learn all of the amazing things that we cover with all of the softwares. So what are you waiting for? Check Skillshare down here below. There we go. So this is Marvel's Designer. For those of you that are new to the software, these are the layout patterns. Here's where we're going to be seeing the simulation, and here's where we're going to be creating the patterns. Marvel's is a really powerful software for cloth generation, especially if you want to go for super realistic kind of stuff. If you're going to stylize, you can get away with ZBrush, and that's fine. But super realistic stuff, you definitely, I would definitely recommend learning Marvel's. It's a good software to have. Now, what's the project? What are we going to be doing today? Well, you probably already saw the thumbnail. That's one of the interesting things about recording and then posting the thumbnail, that you guys get to see the final result before I do. Interesting, right? So we're going to be doing La Llorona. La Llorona is a very famous Mexican legend, myth, or however you want to call it. There's actually a very nice song. This girl right here, Angela Aguilar, she's very good. She didn't invent the song, by the way, but she did the cover of it, and it's a really good one. So La Llorona says that there was this mother. The legend, I think, originates in Guanajuato. I think it's in Guanajuato. And the mother lost her kids, right? There's a lot of different versions. Some say that they died due to sickness, or they got in an accident, or I think some legends say that they drowned in a lake or in a fountain. I don't know. It's a lot of different versions. The point is, she's grieving, and she goes at night through the streets, just calling for her lost children. They did a movie a couple of years ago. I haven't seen it, to be honest. It's from the same guy that did Annabelle and stuff like that. So if you're into horror films, I would suggest checking it out. I'm pretty sure it's good, or at least it has a couple of scare jumps that you can use. But the dress is the interesting one, because I think we can recreate something interesting. So I'm gonna look for La Llorona dress, because I don't want to copy the one from the film. Let's look for something a little bit more interesting. So this is the one that I saw from a Party CD or something. It's sort of it's not medieval. It's a little bit more Victorian, or even further 19s, 1800s, something like that. So I think that's something interesting. I think we can go with something like that. But I do want to see if we can make it a little bit creepier. Let's see. I saw another one that was a little bit more medieval looking, but it looked quite nice as well. It's supposed to be a nightgown or something. So let's very quickly find this one right here. Looks really creepy, really nice. Let's try this one, which is another advantage of this one. It should be relatively easy to do, because it's not super complex. As I mentioned before, this series, I want to try and see if we can make this a little bit more beginner friendly, especially for someone who has never used the software before. So I'm using PureRef. This is PureRef right here to get the image right here. And the first thing we need to do is we need to load an avatar. So I'm going to go here to my avatars, and we're going to go with female, and we have a couple of females. Let's load this one here. There we go. And now that we have the avatar, we can start thinking about how we're going to be doing the patterns. And when you get into Marvel's Designer, this is one of the things that I mentioned in the course quite a bit. You need to get into the sort of tailor mindset, right? Like you need to think about things not like we normally do with polygons and polygroups and stuff like that. We need to think about them in terms of like patterns, actual patterns. So let's start with a very, very simple thing. Let's start with the skirt right here. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go to my shapes and I'm gonna create a rectangle shape right here. And as you can see, when I create the shape right here, there's going to be another rectangle over here. If I click this button, it's going to simulate, and we're going to get like an actual fabric simulation. At any point, we can go here and just reset the elements. Now, skirts are actually interesting because they're not, it depends on the type of skirt, right? But they're not usually just like flat planes. Like if I were to do this and do another plane on the other side, we're going to get like a pencil skirt, which is very like close to the body. So for a skirt, we normally create a like bell kind of shape, like a curvature. So what I'm gonna do here is I am gonna go to my transform elements. Haven't used the marbles in a while. Let's go here. So that's roughly the length that we want. But on the underside, I want this to be longer. That's the if we want to create this sort of like pillars that we have right here, we need the underside of this element to be a little bit longer. So I'm gonna go to edit pattern, grab this one right here. I'm just gonna extend it to both sides like this. There we go. Now I'm gonna select this guy. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna say mirror paste or mirror copy. Just copy and a mirror paste. There we go. And that's going to be the back side of the element. So on the back side, I'm going to bring this guy to the other side, rotate it around, and we're going to get something like this. Now, I do think my waist is a little bit too high right now, which is fine. We're going to fix it. And now we need to sew these two things together. So I'm going to grab my my sewing tool. Where is it? Segment sewing. There we go. And we're going to sew from here to here, and from this place to this place right here. As you can see, we're going to get the seam lines on our character. Now, when we simulate, the cloth is going to try to stick together. And if we bring this up, as you can see, we're going to get a skirt. Now, as I mentioned, the problem is that this skirt is way too big, right? So I'm actually going to grab my patterns, both of them, and I'm going to make them smaller so that the top part here fits, as you can see, the waist. Because that's why we have the silhouette right here to guide ourselves and create the waist. Something like that. There we go. Now, we definitely need to make them longer. So I'm going to grab this and just make them really long. There we go. And we need to reposition them here on the world. So let's position this one right here. And this one on the other side. Oop. Use the little transform arrows to move them around. Let's rotate this. There we go. I'm actually going to bring this a little bit higher than when they're supposed to be because it takes a little bit of time for the cloth to simulate and get to the place they need to be. So when I simulate, as you can see here, and it falls, we're going to get this. Let's start pulling the cloth right here. This is very common. This is when the cloth doesn't know how to properly like interpolate the skin. You can literally just like drag it out and force it to interpolate properly. There we go. So as you can see, this is looking good. We got a nice like length on the skirt, but unfortunately it's really tight to the body, right? Like it has a really tight effect. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna select the first one, select the second one. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna do a symmetric pattern. I'm gonna select, oh no, sorry, it's 1, 2, right click, and we want to make them symmetrical. Where is it? Actually, I'm just gonna delete this one for just a second, and then we're just gonna do it again. But what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go to edit curve points. I'm gonna add a point right there and a point right here. And then if I go to this points right there, I can actually push them, as you can see, and create this sort of like bell looking shape, right? So now this is gonna give me a wider effect. I'm gonna go to transform points, and I'm actually gonna push this thing like further out. This, so we get more of this like pillars on the skirt. And I'm getting some messages. Give me just 1 second. I don't know what it is with people that whenever I'm recording, I like it's like a magnet. Whenever I'm expecting a call, no one calls, and then when I can't do that, it just happens. So I'm gonna instance the pattern. Actually, now let's just normal copy, because I don't want to go into. Just gonna copy and paste. We need to sew again. The problem is we're not going to be able to sew like normally. Oh, in this case it is. Sometimes when you get like extra points, it's not as easy to sew them in the exact same position. So you might need to sew like 2 different sections. Rotate this around. Bring it to the back. And there we go. Like that should be good enough. Even though it's like slightly rotated, that's fine. Because again, when we simulate, whoa, things like my my sewing lines were wrong. This happens, which again, I would say relatively common. Just go here, edit sewing. Let's select that one and just delete it. And we're gonna segment sewing from here to here. There we go. And from here to here. There we go. So now, as you can see, the skirt flows. We get this very nice looking pillars in a nicer way. We still get a nice like a form, like a little bit of form fitting on the hips. And if we want, we can change the curvature. We can just go here, edit curve point. And if we go there, we can give it a little bit more curvature there, a little bit more curvature there, a little bit more curvature there, and a little bit more curvature there. This is not as exact as what I would normally do. But again, it's gonna work. And as you can see, we get this very nice looking pillars on this skirt. She's wearing heels, so it bundles up quite nicely there on the bottom. That's a nice, I would say, a nice waist. We're creating a nice waist right there. So now we can work on the chest right here. So for the chest, I'm gonna move these things to the side. We don't need them right now. For the chest, I'm gonna use my polygon tool here. We're gonna start with the polygon tool. We're gonna start with this area right here. We're gonna go to this area, and then we're gonna go to the hips. I'm gonna keep it at the center. Let's keep her, well, it doesn't usually have like a cleavage, so we'll keep it like this. There we go. Now for this one, I am gonna right click, and I'm gonna say symmetric pattern with sewing, like this. And what that will do is now everything that happens to this pattern right here is gonna be applied to this one, which is really, really handy when we're doing like modifications and stuff like that. And I'm gonna control click, and I'm gonna copy and paste this one up here. I'm gonna rotate this around. This is gonna be the back piece, right? Right there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna copy and symmetric pattern with sewing. There we go. So now we grab our sewing patterns or sewing line, and we're gonna, as you can see, this guy goes to there, this guy goes to there, and then this guy goes to this one. Okay, very important that we like select the proper one, because if you don't, you're gonna get cross stitch, and then things are gonna be flying off in different directions. We are missing, oh no, which is now we just do this upper one to this upper one. See that's a cross stitch, so we don't want that. We want not that one. We want this. If it's cross stitching, maybe you just need to do this. There we go. So now, as you can see, we have stitching going all over the place. And if we simulate, we're gonna get a nice little like best. Is that the proper word? I think that's the proper word. We get the best for our character. Now, it's not as loose as I might want. As you can see, it's not supposed to be that loose. It's very like tight. We can see the breast pushing towards the top. So I think I'm gonna keep this. What I do want to create here is I do want to create a little belt to merge both elements together. So what we can do here is we need to measure how much this line has. So if we go edit pattern and we select this one, you can see it's 276.6. So I'm going to go to my rectangle. I'm going to right click and there we go. Just clicking, and I'm just going to say 276.6. Actually, this is like 5 centimeters and then 276.6. Hit OK. Actually, that's not what I want. Let's click. It's 200. It's 5 centimeters on. Oh, it's millimeters. So it's 50 centimeters. So it will be like that, and then 276.6. There we go. This is going to create a belt right here. And then what I can do is I can just select the edge right here on this belt, right click, and I can do a mirror paste. Oh, sorry. It's not a mirror paste. Right click, and it's the unfold. There we go. The unfold is pretty much like flipping it. So you just go from that line and flip it. And that's it. We're just going to move this line to the torso right here. Same thing here on this area. And then we're gonna sew. So this guy is gonna sew to this area right there. This guy is gonna sew to this area right here. Careful there, that was a cross stitch, so just need to make sure that it's sewing properly. So from here, is that the proper one? I don't think so. That's fine. Oh, sorry, it's the upper one or the lower one. So this line right here should be first. There we go. That seems to be the proper one. We can try it. So if we simulate this thing should sew properly. Oh, it's not. Oh, it is. As you can see, that's the little like belt right there. And finally, we can sew from here to the other side right there. There we go. That way we close the belt. It is important to have a belt just to have more options to like stitch things to different elements, because if we were to stitch the top like crop to the skirt, then that division will be very like complicated to handle. Now it's time that we do this as sewing, and we're going to use something called free sewing, because if we try to sew right now from here to here, as you can see, it's going to try to sew through the whole length, and we only want half of it. So I'm going to use this option called free sewing. I'm going to say from this point there to this point there. As you can see, we were given the point that we're looking for, and it's a lot easier to find the exact size. As you can also see, the what's the word? This thing right here, the element is not as precise. What do I mean by that? Is actually we don't have the same size. So what's gonna happen there? We're gonna have a little bit of a little like something there. There's ways to fix this. We could make the top of the belt a little bit slimmer, or we can make this one a little bit bigger. Or I'm gonna show you another technique that we can use. I'm gonna use again free sewing. We're gonna go from here to here, from here to that point. Actually, back from here to here, and then from here to here. And then we know that we want this part to be the last one, so we can actually sew the whole thing, even if we go over the amount of like points that we have. It will just like try and get it as nicely as possible. And we're gonna get like a couple of bumps here and there, but that's fine. I mean, as long as we don't break it. As you can see, it's like stretching a little bit to one side. That line, we can later on get rid of it. Actually, I mean, I could get rid of it by just like pasting those things together. But the important thing is that we have the whole dress. So I'm gonna have to stop the video right here, guys. We're not finished, don't worry. I'm just gonna go get something real quick, and I'll be back to continue with this one. Give me just 1 second. It's just gonna be a quick jump for you. Very well. Testing. Okay, I'm back. So we're left with this things, right, with the main element. Let's fix this line right here, or the center line. Again, very easy to do. We can just right click this, guys, and we can say remove linked editing, and then we can select this guy right here and this guy right here, right click, and we can say merge. And if that works properly, as you can see, we no longer have a line. Everything's still gonna hold exactly the same, but we no longer have that specific line. Now, as you can see here in the dress, we have this cut right here. This is done very commonly for like the breast area, to give it a little bit more room. It's called a dart. I don't think we need it, but I'm gonna show you guys how to do it, because it looks very, very cool. It's gonna give us a more like form-fitting thing to the whole character, like this dart right here. So it's actually fairly simple. We just go here to this guy, dart. We go from here up, or let's do another one. I'm just gonna go to the dart is pretty much just like a horizontal line. Unfortunately, actually not unfortunately, I'm gonna go back a little bit, because I do want to keep the live editing going, so that when we create the dart on one side, we create it on both sides. And I'm gonna go with internal polygon line. We're gonna start on the border, up and down to create the little triangle, and we just hit enter. As you can see, we get the dart right there. And now that we have the dart, we can just move it around if we need to. So I can move it, let's say, to there. I'm gonna grab this point, and it usually lands right around where the breast area is. As you can see, it's right around there. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these two guys. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say cut. And as you can see, we've now got this pattern. And we delete that pattern. We don't need it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to sew these two segments together. And what that's going to do is that's going to create the dart that we're looking for. As you can see right there. Let's also stop the simulation. And grab this pattern right here. And delete it. There we go. So as you can see, now we have that sort of like line right there. And we could add another line, change the texture. I don't think we really need it. I just wanted to show you guys how to do that specific setup right here, right there. As you can see, it no longer like perfectly matches where these things were sewn together because the sew lines got destroyed, if you wish. But again, we're just gonna keep going for now. Now, one thing we can do though is now that we have the belt, we could technically go to the skirt. And if we were to grab the upper section right here, we can make it wider. Okay, so we're gonna make the open section wider, but since the stitching is still like kept, what's gonna happen is we're gonna start getting more pillars on the upper side, as you can see right there. So our dress is gonna look a little bit different in this case, which I think kind of benefits. I think it might have been a little bit too much. So let's bring that back again. Just a little bit, just a tad bit of like movement there and a tad bit of movement here. There we go. So that just like extra little effects right there should give us a more like interesting dress. Let's buff it out a little bit and there we go. Let's go now for the sleeves. Sleeves are fairly easy, I would say. So I'm just gonna grab all of these guys right here, move them to the side. And we need to find what the size of the sleeve is. As you can see, it's a relatively big sleeve, like all of this sleeve right here. So I'm gonna select the section or the pattern. It's 157.3. So I'm gonna create a new rectangle. The height is gonna be 157.3, and the way we can keep it like that. So that's one side of the sleeve, right? We want the other side. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna select this upper part right here, and we're gonna unfold. It's gonna again unfold it to the other side like so. We can position this so that we match the sleeve of our character. It's like very long sleeves. They become like narrower at the end. We'll fix that. Right now, I just want to make sure that they are in place where they're supposed to be. And now we sew things together. So I know, let's bring this patterns all the way here. I'm actually gonna grab this, right click, and we're gonna do another symmetric pattern with the sewing so that again, anything that we do with one thing will happen to the other one. We are gonna do a segment sewing. We're gonna sew from here to here. Okay, that seems to be working. Oh, wait, it's actually doing it the other way around. It's from here to here. That's really weird. It's trying to do opposite side. Why? I don't know. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. So this one goes there. Oh, because this is the back part. Okay, my bad. And then this one goes there. Nope. This one would go here. I'm getting my stitches confused. Let's go back. Okay. So this guy should go here. There we go. Okay, yeah. And then this guy should go here. Like that. Let's give it a go. Technically, this should be like sleeves folding on top of the arm. Are they folding properly? I don't think they are. Let's go back. One way you can see this a little bit clearer is if we like put this in this sort of like flat shape. There you go. So you can see this stitching is reversed. So I'm gonna go to my stitchings again. And you can actually go to edit sewing. And if we select that sewing, we can say reverse sewing. And that should fix it. There we go. And again, it should fix it on the other side as well. And finally, we are going to do another segment sewing from this side to this side. And on the other side as well. So when we do this, as you can see, we should get a tube-like shape. If that doesn't work, we could, of course, do both sides. In this case, I kind of like it like this. So I'm just going to bring this down and have it be as close as possible to the arm section. So that when we simulate, as you can see here, it should try to compress against the arm in a in a better way. It's having a little bit of an issue there. Again, the way we can solve this is by just doing the two sides of the sleeve and then merging them. And also try to just incorporate, like literally just start pulling from the top here. Actually, that doesn't seem like a bad idea. And we help the whole thing get in. That's why I mentioned that this video we're gonna take a little bit longer, right? Because it's a lot of well, trial and error. Almost there. Almost there. There we go. Cool. So yeah, as you can see, that sleeve is working nicely. Let's do the same for this one. Just help it out. There we go. Try getting like the wrist there. Come on, help me out. There we go. That's better. Oh, almost there. There we go. So now it's just the normals that are kind of like flipping. It's actually really weird. I'm not sure why we have that black color. Well, I know why we have it. It's the normals. We shouldn't be seeing them. There we go. There we go. So now we're got rid of the black marks. Let's just finish getting this inside of the collision of the armor. There we go. Actually, I forgot. There were a couple of points that we can use to like move things around. They're called attachment points. This arrangement points. But that's fine. We've already got this. Those arrangement points, they kind of like bend things to make this thing even easier. But there you go. You have another way to fix this. Perfect. So now we have the sleeves. I do like how they look up here. I think they look quite nice. But as we go towards the wrist, they should be like going or becoming like smaller, right? So what I'm gonna do here is first I do want to like keep this sort of like puffiness up here. So I'm gonna go with my internal polygon line. I'm gonna start right here and go, as you can see, in a 90-degree angle all the way to the other side. Hit enter. That's fine. And now what we can do is we can select that line and say a cut and sew. What that will do is it will cut line and immediately sew it together. So now when we simulate, as you can see, there's another like sew line right there. Now, why is that important? Because if we want to create the sort of like attachment point right there, we can actually do it. Now, if we want to puff out at the shoulders a little bit more, we can actually do it as well. We can grab this pattern right here. And if we make it a little bit bigger like this, since the distance of the insertion point and the attachment point are the same, as you can see right there, they're going to get puffier like that. So we're going to have just like, what's the proper word? Like smaller elements right there. And I'm gonna go to this guy, and now we can like modify the thickness of the wrist, as you can see right there, to create something that's a little bit more form-fitting. What is this with this guys and the spam calls? I'm not lying, guys. Look at this. It's just a spam call. They just love like calling me at this time. It's horrible. So yeah, now I do think this line's a little bit low or high, so I'm gonna bring this line lower, and this one as well. So now we're gonna have an even puffier like sleeve up there, and we can even like make this thing a little bit thinner. That's also gonna make it. There we go. Look at that, beautiful. It's gonna look very, very fancy, right? It looks like an old style dress. Now let's add this things like flowing. We're really close to the end of this thing. I'm just gonna add the sleeves, the neck, and then I want to add like this big veil on top of the character. So what we're gonna do for the sleeves is very similar. We're just gonna measure. We can measure, just give a like guesstimate. In this case, we have 99.4 and 85, so it's like 185. So I'm gonna grab this guy. Just click. I'm just gonna make this 200. 200 by 50, maybe like 70. Let's go 7 centimeters. There we go. Okay. So this is where, again, the free sewing comes into play, because what we're going to do is I'm gonna grab, well, let's of course control right click, symmetric pattern with sewing. Let's go right there. And I'm gonna go freeze sewing, and we're gonna sew from here to here, and from here all the way to there. Now, since this is a little bit longer, since the sleeve is a little bit longer than the arm pattern, we're gonna get a little bit more crunchiness. So I'm gonna simulate, and as you can see, we get this. There we go. One thing I forgot to do, let's stop the simulation, was to sew the inner line. So let's do segment sewing from here to here. There we go. So we complete the loop. Let's help the slip as well. There we go. Perfect. Let's help it on this other side as well. There we go. Now, as you can see, it's not as long as I would like, and I think that's because of two things. First of all, I think this thing should be a little bit longer, and then this thing should definitely be way longer. So when we simulate, again, we're gonna have to help it with the hands. Fingers tend to be quite problematic because there's a lot of collision boxes. Now, another reason why the collision is not working as nicely, and we'll talk about this shortly, is because where maybe it's a little bit too long actually. Is because we don't have enough triangles on the element, right? So we have this very big triangle, so they're either in or out of the character. Another thing we can do is we can definitely like increase the size on the outside. That's gonna give me a little bit more room. There we go. It's a little bit better. Boom. So the same thing here. There we go. That's called the particle density. That's like the resolution that we have on the cloth, and we've been working with a very like standard particle density so far. I'm gonna change that in just a second. So for the neck, you can see that she has this sort of like very old Victorian H neck. I'm gonna go with that. So again, we're just gonna create a big square right here. Just okay. Just select this pattern and unfold it. And then with free sewing, we're gonna sew the front half to the front half of the, actually, let's go back. We're gonna start from here to here, from here to that point, from here to here, from that point to the center. And then this will be this part right here. So from here to here, from here to here, and from here to here, from here to here. There we go. The neck might not be exact, that's fine. I'm just gonna give it the general shape, as you can see right there. And finally, we're gonna do a segment sewing from here to here. There we go. I even like that little oh my god, that little like flap that we got there. Looks interesting, right? So if we want more detail there, we can like increase the size, and of course it's gonna like crunch up or down rather. Let me show you. So if we increase the size here and we simulate, it's gonna try to crunch there. As you can see, we get like the sort of like turtleneck effect. I don't want it. I actually like how this looks right there. Cool. Finally, for the veil, this is gonna be the last one. The veil is just literally one thing that's falling on top of her, but we do need like a pin on the top so that it doesn't fall. So I'm gonna go with a rectangle. It's gonna be like a really nice and big rectangle like this. That seems about right. Maybe a little bit smaller. And we're just gonna position it right here. Let's position it on the top of her head. As you can see, we want to get that sort of like triangle thing on the front. So we're gonna rotate this like so. Oh, sorry about that. And finally, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a pin, which is this little guy right here. Where is it? Hey, where are my pins? Button, zipper, piping, binding, pin. So I'm gonna say tack on avatar. I'm gonna click a point of my cloth, and then click a point on my avatar, which in this case is gonna be her head. And that way, things should like stay right there. So when we do this, beautiful. Now we can modify this thing a little bit, have the veil hanging in a slightly different way, and we got Llorona. Now let's talk about very quickly about the density that we mentioned, and it's going to be a little bit more obvious here, for instance, on the gloves, because it's a really small section. So if we select this pattern right here, actually both patterns, and we go to the property editor, you're going to see that here on the particle density, we have a particle density of 20. So that's 20 polygons for like in a millimeter square or something like that. The point is that if we were to see the wireframe, as you can see right here, we have a very like uniform mesh all throughout the surface. And for the veil, it's perfectly fine because it's a big piece, so we can have bigger triangles for the simulation. But for the glob, since it's a small piece, we would actually benefit from having more particle density. So I'm going to change this to 5. And as you can see, now we're going to have more triangles, and when we simulate, the simulation is going to give us some nicer looking wrinkles, as you can see right there. And you can do this per like pattern. So for instance, if I go here to the arms, to like the ones that we're actually seeing, and we change this, let's say, to 10, right? Maybe not 20, but 10. We're going to have a little bit more density there, and therefore the wrinkles that we're going to be generating, look at those. Very, very cool looking, right? So when optimizing things, it's going to be all about like making sure that you get the proper effect. Now, what I'm going to do here to finalize this project is just throw in a shader. This one, as you can see, has a very basic fabric shader, so I'm going to add a new one. Where is it? There we go, fabric 2. So now if I were to change the color, as you can imagine, I would just drag and drag it right there. That's going to be green. We don't want that. I'm going to go for like a dirty beige. So let's go to the fabric right here. Oh, let's go there. If we go to the fabric here, we can go for like a beige, go for like a dirty beige. And in this particular one, we can actually turn off the opacity or turn down the opacity. So this looks like a veil, right? We can turn off the avatar, by the way. So here on the avatar, we can hide it. So now it's gonna look like a ghost. And we can actually pose it. So let's show the avatar. If we go here to the library options, we have poses. Some of them are like interesting looking. Some of them are just like random. Like this one actually looks very, very cool. Oh, this one looks very cool. So if you are subscribed, of course, to the software, you have access to all of this, guys. I can just double click. I'm going to say pose only and hit OK. And what's going to happen is the avatar is going to be posed, and it's going to follow like the animation, and everything is going to follow to match that particular pose that we have. And that's pretty much it. The render would definitely need to be done on a separate software. I mean, we can, of course, there is a software. I don't remember the name. Let me get it for you guys. So it's a Substance. No, it's not Substance. It's Marvelous Designer. And what's the other one? Cracks and stuff like that. Oh, get it for free. Well, not get it for free. Pay for it. Pay for it, then you're gonna get. There we go. Clo 3D. You're gonna get more stuff. You're gonna get updates. You're gonna get patch fixes. I know when you're a student, it's difficult, but it's advisable once you're a freelancer to get your own licenses, so that you don't have to worry about like cracks and viruses and stuff like that. Anyway, so Clo 3D is another software that the same creators of Marvelous have. That one's specifically or a little bit more aimed towards people in the fashion industry, and it does have a rendering options, like rendering things that you can use. But these things right here, they could easily be exported out to something like Maya, Arnold, even like what's the word? Like anything that you can think of, any software that you can think of, you can pretty much export it right there. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to change everything to like a 5 particle distance. It's going to be quite heavy, but it's going to give me way better wrinkles. Same for this one. Well, the big ones I'm going to change to 10 particle distance. Usually for like final production, 10, 5, it's a good number. You can even go lower depending again on the size. But there we go. So as we simulate, we're going to get some nice, look at those wrinkles right there on the arm. Amazing, right? Like super soft, super nice. And there we go. Let me know in the comments if we should do, you guys are going to decide at the end of the week, at the end of this special week, so on Friday, I'm going to pick 2 projects. One of them, we're going to texture it, and the other one, we're going to render it. Or it could be both of them. Like we could grab one project and texture it and render it, so that I can show Substance Painter and a rendering engine. I think Marmoset might be a good idea because we've already done a little bit of Maya. So depending on which ones you pick, I'm going to do it. We could, right now we have 3 assets, right? We have the pumpkin that we did on ZBrush. We have the coffin that we did in Maya. We now have this dress that we did here in Marvelous. Tomorrow is Blender. It's Blender Day. So we're going to do something in Blender. And then... what's the final one? I forgot what the final one was going to be. Speed Tree. I mentioned that we were going to be doing Speed Tree. Speed Tree we're not going to include because it already gives you textures and stuff. But we were going to do Speed Tree for Friday. So that's it, guys. Hope you like this final result. Thank you very much for all of your support. Make sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.